Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Gilly, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast, a special Easter Sunday edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast, coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in Boston, Massachusetts. We will be taking you down to Roatan in Honduras, a beautiful island off the coast of Honduras, to speak to the author of Gilly The Grateful Superhero. Her name is Ruth King. We decided to publish this interview on the day when millions and millions of Christians all around the world are celebrating Easter, because it deals with the topic of gratitude and teaching our kids to live gratefully. And I believe that that is a perfect subject to celebrate. It's a perfect attitude to celebrate on this very, very special day in the Christian world. The attitude of being grateful for all the blessings that we have in our life. It's so very, very important. It's such a wonderful gift that we can give to our kids when we're raising our kids, teaching them to live gratefully. It is a wonderful gift. I also want to show a little bit of gratitude to the wonderful teachers, parents, and kids up at Winthrop Grade School in Winthrop, Maine. This is my third or fourth visit to Winthrop Grade School presenting my educational magic. I had a great time. I love the kids. I remember, and talking about gratitude is something that's very important in my educational magic shows. No matter if we're talking, the overall topic is focusing on bullying or making healthy choices in our life, I believe it's really, really important when addressing those really important issues by helping our kids to remember what they have and to remember to live gratefully. And I remember the last time I was up there, I asked one of the kids what she was grateful for, and she said she's grateful for the new lamb that was just born on her farm. And as I was breaking down, like about an hour later, the girl came back up to me. Her mom brought the lamb in for me to meet, and I thought, this is really cool. And to this year, I was asking the kids what they're grateful for, and one young man said he is grateful for his pet. And I said, what kind of pet do you have? He says, I have a dog. It's a half pit bull, half wolf. And I said, that's not a dog. That's a monster. But I'm glad that you're grateful for it. And I'm really grateful to have so many great friends up at Winthrop Grade School in Winthrop, Maine. Thanks very much for all of your love, all of your hospitality. I would love to bring my educational magic shows to your school, your community, your public library, your church. You can find out more about my shows by visiting jedlie.com, Jedlie, jedlie.com, or go to readingwithyourkids.com/live, readingwithyourkids.com/live. I am so excited. We are speaking to our first guest coming to us from Roatan in Honduras. Really excited to speak to the author of Gilly, the Grateful Superhero. Now, be careful. In advance, you may have trouble understanding. She has a very thick Honduran accent, so just bear with us as we welcome the author Ruth King to the show. Ruth, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm a massive fan of your podcast. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you very much. You didn't even have to say that. You're already on the show, but now that you're here, we'll make sure that the interview is great. I was joking about your Honduran accent because obviously you don't have one. You're originally from Ireland, and now you find yourself on an island off the coast of Honduras, in part of the country of Honduras. And you've written this beautiful book, Gilly, the Grateful Superhero. I want to talk about everything, but first, let's tell folks about the book and what they will experience when they read Gilly the Superhero with their kids.
Sure, I'd love to. So the book, Gilly the Grateful Superhero, is about teaching kids the power of gratitude. So it's based around the character Bobby, who is a little boy that's kind of struggling to see all the blessings he has in his life and not very appreciative of his day-to-day things. So that's where Gilly comes in, and Gilly has a unique superpower on how to show children how to find the gratitude in every situation. And I'm talking like the most basic of things. You know, we're in a current life of excess, and sometimes we have to remind ourselves that we should be so grateful to wake up in a comfortable bed, have food to education. So that's where Gilly spends the entire day with Bobby when he goes through those things that a child would on a daily basis, waking up, having breakfast, going to school, all those things, and how to find gratitude in every situation. So say one of the examples in the book, Gilly gets his lunch and it's vegetables, and he doesn't want to eat his vegetables, right? It's a common problem. We're all guilty of it every now and then. And that's where Gilly comes in and just highlights how blessed he is to have food in front of him, and how so many millions of children around the world don't have that luxury. So it's about kind of taking it really back to basics and teaching children that every aspect of their life they need to find the gratitude in. And it's also a important lesson, I think, for the moms and dads and the whoever's reading the book as well, because I've had a lot of feedback from, people reading the book to children saying, wow, Ruth, I got as much out of it as they did. It kind of takes you back to basics, and I should be grateful for, having water in my tap that I can drink when so many millions don't have that luxury, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Now, I absolutely agree with you. It's right. It's the right thing to do for us to teach our kids to be grateful. And it's the proper attitude for our kids to have, to understand that they are truly blessed. If you're living it, I would have to say that if you're able to download this podcast anywhere you are, then you are blessed. Then you are in that like top 1 to 10% of the people in the world. And the attitude, you should be grateful for that. But there's also, kind of I don't mean to say selfish, but there's a really practical reason for us to teach our kids to be grateful, because there are so many benefits from living gratefully. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Absolutely. I mean, the famous quote, I think it's Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote Conversations with God, said the struggle ends when gratitude begins. Mm-hmm. And there's an absolute science behind it. Like if you live a grateful life, if you do like they call it practicing gratitude, because it is something you have to actively practice. Waking up in the morning and telling yourself 5 things you're grateful for before your 2 feet hit the floor. Number one, opening your eyes is something to be grateful in itself, because so many others don't have that luxury. It has health benefits. It lowers stress levels. It can increase immune system. So there's actually some very solid scientific research behind this practice. It's not a sort of an airy-fairy lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It is a way to live your life healthy, happily, and it's proven. It's out there. And several books are written about it.
Yeah, and it's funny because you're originally from Ireland. My family is originally from Ireland. I think a lot of folks, at least a lot of the Irish folks here in America, it's like, there's beauty in the struggle, and being miserable is there's a blessing in being miserable. And I've had a real hard time buying into that whole idea. And it's just, we shouldn't just, there's a reason, that we've been taught for centuries and centuries to be grateful. And it's because whether it's knowledge coming from our Creator, or if it's knowledge that's inherent in human beings in our DNA, we understand that being grateful has all these wonderful health benefits with it.
Absolutely. And there's so much data behind it. Mm-hmm. And, if you actually dive into it as much as I've dove into it, there's people that have overcome incredible adversities. It's all about finding the blessing in the adversity. And I'm talking people that told they would never walk again, mm-hmm. that have terminal illness, that can actually think themselves better. Like there's factual stories. There's hundreds and hundreds of these case studies out there where, people have been given the worst news in the world, and because they kept a grateful mind and they kept their thoughts positive and they didn't, fall down the rabbit hole, as such, that they can actually think themselves better. And yes, it's a rarity, but it's that powerful of a force. Mm-hmm. And that's why by writing the book, when I started to dive in and research about it, I was hearing authors and podcasters and all these people over and over again, often just saying the one sentence of, I just wish I figured it out sooner. I wish, I was a positive person, but I never really grasped how important gratitude was in my daily life. And when I figured it out, I was probably 25, 26, and I thought, well, the one luxury I have now is my 3 kids who are aged 1, 3, and 5 won't have to say that, because I'm gonna push this on it now. And that's what was the inspiration behind the book, because I looked for something that could teach them in a fun way. There's definitely books available and they're great, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. So I said, okay, well, if I'm looking for it, perhaps other parents and guardians are looking for it. So that's when I wrote it, and it's completely in rhyme, so it holds their attention. The illustrations are super cute and colorful, and it's really good for like the younger kids around 2 to 3 that aren't really focusing too much on the words, that they really enjoy the illustrations. And that was the inspiration behind it, like getting the word out early so the next generation don't have to learn it so late.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And you're absolutely right. There's mountains of research, that show you can endure pain, more pain, if you are living a grateful life. And it's just incredible. And it's something that we were speaking before the podcast. I was kind of blessed with that kind of the glass is half full kind of attitude through most of my life. But once, I read in the book that kind of turned my thoughts on this up to maximum volume was Thanks, How the New Science of Gratitude Can Make You Healthier and Happier by Robert Emmons. And finding that book and discovering the beauty and the power of gratitude was kind of liberating for me. It was kind of giving me the ability to kind of go out and say, yes, we should look at the glass as half full. Yes, make lemonade out of those lemons and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I could not agree more.
Now, we've mentioned a couple of times that you're originally from Ireland and now you're on Roatan off of Honduras. How did you get from an island on one side of the Atlantic to the other?
Well, my husband and I were in Ireland, born and raised. And then when it got to around 2011, we were working in very busy jobs, 2 trains in the night, kind of passing, crack of dawn, midnight, working very hard. And we just wanted a little bit of a change. So we moved over to the Cayman Islands originally, and start working with a phenomenal company that I still work with to this day. And they moved us to Roatan about a year later. So we moved here with our company, Diamonds International, in 2013. I've been here ever since. And it's home now. We had our children here. It's an awesome place. It's super Caribbean. The lifestyle is great. The weather's amazing. We absolutely love it. And I don't miss the Irish rain, but I do miss the Irish food.
I know a lot of Latin American dishes. I don't know any Honduran dishes off the top of my head, so I can't impress you with my knowledge. But I want to talk a little bit about, and we touched on this a little bit earlier. Roatan, it's a beautiful island and you're enjoying a wonderful lifestyle. But Honduras itself, the mainland, they're in the news here in the States and around the world for very different reasons. Tell us a little bit about what you know about the conditions that folks are facing in Honduras and other parts of Central America.
Well, Honduras itself is one of the poorest countries in the world. Roatan, the island I'm on, it's beautiful. It definitely has its areas of poverty like any area, but the Honduras mainland, it would be in particularly quite underprivileged. The basic living conditions are quite poor. The average is about $1 a day living expense. And there's a lot of crime there. It's one of the most dangerous places to be. I mean, the touristy areas are perfectly fine, but I'm talking when you go into the mainland itself. And it's those reasons why people are making the very life-changing decision to get up and try and find a better life. I mean, I know it's been all over the news about the people coming from Central America and the caravans to the US. And I think when you're on one side of it, you can see the negatives of these people trying to come to America and all that stuff. But when you actually see the amount of things that we've seen firsthand and the stories and the harrowing stories that you hear every day here, it makes it a lot more understandable why these people upsticks their entire family, take one of the most dangerous journeys of their entire life to try and make a better life for themselves. But it's a beautiful country, but it's definitely a poverty-stricken one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, you're not just on this beautiful island enjoying the lifestyle. You're making a positive difference on Roatan for the kids and families here. Tell us a little bit about that, because many of the proceeds that come from the sale of Gilly the Grateful Superhero are helping folks in Honduras.
Yeah, absolutely. When we got here in 2012, it's different. And we often talk about this, my husband and I, when we talk about Ireland, because if we were to walk around Ireland, it's kind of difficult to find quickly where needs help urgently, because it's an amazing country. People live quite well. But when we got here and we were not used to it coming from Ireland, like poverty was in it right here, and we immediately seen who needs help. And we thought, well, we have the means to help. We have the people to help. The least we can do is make a contribution while we're here. So we started small, and we start, our teams, when we don't have cruise ships in, they're available to do other projects. So what we did was we got our team of 60 people and we separated them into several different projects throughout the island. So one group did sexual education, one group did the homeless, one is a building group. And we started small like that. And then as the years went by, we kind of built up more and more to the point that last year we built 7 homes for 7 families in dire need of new living conditions. Like we had one situation was a single mom with like 4 children on one single mattress. She had no proper roof. It was all made of wood. It was about, I'd say, 70 square feet for a family of 5. So we came in, we rebuilt all these houses last year. We completed a full school with our team. Which is actually now the first ever bilingual public school, because we increased it to such a size. They brought in an English teacher, so now it's the first public school doing Spanish and English. So we're doing it because we're here and we can, and when it's right in front of you, I think you have an obligation as a human to do whatever you can, and that can be very small or very large. We're just trying to do one project at a time, and that's why with the book I wanted another kind of revenue stream so we can fund these projects, because we need building materials and everything that goes with these big projects. So funds from the book will go directly towards our ongoing work here. So we're on about year 7 here, and we're about to start into year 8 of the summer projects, and we're hoping sales from the book will go towards, building materials, medical supplies, all that kind of thing.
Wow, that's really, really fantastic. And what a great way to show gratitude is to, share and the gifts that we've been given to help those who don't have as much.
Absolutely. And you know what, that kind of increased the gratitude journey for me, because, we can all take advantage of waking up in our cozy beds, pajamas on, roof overhead. And when you actually realize that that's a pure luxury, that's not something we're entitled to. That's not something that everybody has. It's actually, I think a recent statistic said if you have those 3 things, waking up in your bed, clothed with a roof over your head, you're in the top 25% of the entire world's population. So when you see how people live, and I mean the happiest kids you've ever seen, like happy families, so much love, and they have so little. It's a real wake-up call when one of the kids is upset that their Xbox is broken. It really puts stuff into perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just kind of flash back when you're talking about the Xbox being broken and the kids kind of throwing a tantrum over it. I remember a conversation I had with my son when he is a great young man. Just got married. I'm so proud of him. He's very giving and very helpful. But there was a moment, as everybody in middle school, when he was having a tough time in 6th or 7th grade. I remember he was frustrated about something not working, and he just kind of threw it down and was like, "My life is so horrible," and it's like, oh, dude, you don't even have a little bit of a clue.
Yeah. No, and I don't blame those people either. I think for us, like I said, again, because it was right in front of us, it was like a serious wake-up call. And I know not everyone has, I don't want to call it luxury, but like my kids have seen stuff that probably no other children in their maybe even immediate family, like I'm talking my niece and nephews would see. So it's hard to get perspective when you don't see it firsthand. But when you do, it really brings you back to earth real quick.
Mm-hmm. And what you're talking about, that woman with her 4 kids living and they had one mattress to share, and you said they had 70 square feet of space. That was their home, and I'm not great with space, but I know that's a lot smaller than a typical hotel room. I think it's maybe a little bit bigger than a couch.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking, actually, that's a good way to put it. If you put like a 3-seater squared, you're talking that sort of level of space with dirt floor, a tarp as a roof, wooden walls, generally made out of pallets or any kind of leftover building material. And then they would have no bathroom facilities. They would generally wash outside with buckets like this. And like I said, the happiest families, like working so hard, and children just so full of joy because, we used to come, and my like, really, I can't take the credit for this. Like, my husband should be on this part. Like, he's the person that really spearheaded all this charity work. And Dave would go and grab a bag of lollipops, when he goes down to one of the building sites, and 30 kids would come up to him, like running, just joyous and the joy you can see in their faces from a lollipop would like literally make, it would, I'm not an emotional person, but you would burst into tears on the spot. Like, it's incredible because such a little gesture, like a 5-cent lollipop was like made their day, but it was an amazing experience. A tough one though, but amazing.
That's wonderful. Now, obviously we want people to go out and purchase Gilly the Grateful Superhero so that those proceeds can help your charity work, and most importantly, so that you can share this great message with your kids. But are there other ways for folks to help more directly with the work that you're doing?
Absolutely. If you go to our website, which is gillythegratefulsuperhero.com, there's an option to contact me if you want to reach out to myself on email, if you want to help. We've had people that have given donations, and I'll literally send them, okay, you purchased the windows and the doors of this house, you purchased the roof of this school. We don't run a nonprofit or anything. It's literally just us, using funds, buying materials, building and fixing. And we do a lot of schools and making schools safer as well. But if they want to reach out, and if anyone would like to help, we would be so grateful. A little goes a very long way here. When we built our houses last year, each house averaged about $5,000 start to finish. And that was a life-changing house. Like, that's with electricity and shelter, because a lot of the times these kids are waking up, not from their alarm like our kids, but from rain coming through the roof. That would be a regular occurrence. But if anyone would love to help, definitely contact me through my website, and we'd be delighted to hear from you. Or if you have any questions about the book or anything.
That's fantastic. So the website is, I'm going to pop it up here, gillythegratefulsuperhero.com.
Yes.
And there's a contact button there, and it really is. It's a beautiful website. It tells you a little bit about Ruth. It tells you a lot about the book, and there's also information there about the charity, which is very helpful and gives some great pictures. And I mean, the pictures of the charity. There is this picture of Ruth with a group of it looks like kindergarten kids, maybe first graders. And they have the most beautiful smiles. It's just amazing. That's
actually one of the school. That's the school we built this year. That I went back to when I got the very first copy of the book to visit all the kids. Now, I'll be honest, I've self-confessed have no Spanish, which after 7 years is like a travesty. I was like trying to like use my Spanglish to translate the rhyming. So I don't know if their smiles is just sympathy for my terrible Spanish or that they really enjoyed it. But it was great to go back and see all the kids, and they really loved the book. They really enjoyed it.
Well, that's great. Well, don't feel bad about 7 years and not having Spanish. I'm married to a beautiful princess from Puerto Rico for 30 years, and I get some strong Spanglish, but that's about it. I know all the bad words, and that really makes my wife upset.
Yeah, unfortunately, I learned those first, and that's where it ended.
Of course. It's like you don't need anything else after that.
Exactly.
Well, we've been talking today not only to the author of Gilly the Grateful Superhero, but the driving force. Ruth and her husband are the driving force behind doing some really super things on the island of Roatan and Honduras. So be sure to check out GillyTheGratefulSuperhero.com. The book you can order through the website. It's also available Amazon, places like that?
Yeah, any major online retailer, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Lulu.com, and directly through the website, we can gather the most funds to donate. So, but any major online store, you're going to find us there.
Excellent. Well, the name of the book, and it is a super book to help your kids embrace the whole idea of living gratefully. The name of the book is Gilly the Grateful Superhero, a great addition to your family library. And we've been talking to the author, Ruth King. Ruth, thank you so very much for being on the show.
Thank you. It's been so much fun and like an honor. It's my first ever podcast. I'm really fanning out over here. So exciting.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Dr. Whitney Roban. She'll be here to talk to us about her wonderful book, Devin and Evan Play Fortnite Till 11. She's a sleep specialist, and she'll be talking to us about the importance of sleep and also talking to us about her wonderful books. That's the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. You know, I think you'd agree that Ruth had a great time being on the show. She certainly expressed that to me after the interview was completed. And it was her first time doing any kind of an interview or podcast. She had a really fun time. That's what everybody tells me after they've been on the show, that being a guest on the show is fun, it's easy, and it gives authors a chance to tell thousands and thousands of people about their fantastic book. Or, as in the case with Ruth, also gives her the chance to talk about the wonderful work that her family is doing down in Roatan and Honduras. If you're the author of a great children's book, we would love to give you the chance to let the world know all about it. All you need to do is to go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com, click on the contact button, let us know about your great book. We will let you know the next easy steps. Hey, we want to thank Ruth King for being here today. We want to thank Ruth and her family for all that they're doing for the folks down in Roatan and Honduras. I also want to thank my producer, Fatima Khan, for being such an amazing producer. I want to give another big shout out to our friends up at the Winthrop Grade School in Winthrop, Maine. And while I'm at it, I absolutely need to say thank you to my beautiful wife. My wife, for almost 30 years, she has put up with my nonsense. I am so very, very grateful. And of course, also on this beautiful Easter Sunday, I want to thank God and for all the blessings that God has brought into my life. And that includes you. Thank you for being part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. And thank you for teaching your kids to live gratefully, to help them understand just how very blessed they are. And thank you so very much for always taking the time to read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.